Hi there, I'm Ben, an RV technician here at Lichtsinn RV. Today we're going to go over Winnebago's 2020 View 24D. Alright, to start off here, we're going to talk about the new and improved entry door. There's a couple new features on this door, and the whole door itself is actually new, which is pretty cool. It's a heavier duty door. A couple things we have a shade right here that pulls up out of the door, and that gives you your privacy from inside. When the door's closed, this is actually your lock. You're going to push in on that handle there, and that locks your door. Pull back out to unlock your door. The sign below it just is telling you not to try to operate both handles at the same time, so don't do that. Just either one handle or the other handle. Grab handle here for helping close. We have a little bit of storage in the middle of the door here, and then we also have another storage down below here. It does way up at top have a gas strut that holds it open. And like any other door, we want to be careful when we open it. We don't want to just let it go so the wing can grab it or any of that stuff. So open it nice and slow. You don't need to just let go. Alright, other thing we have right inside the door here is a screen. So screen just pulls across, keeps all the bugs and everything else out. Alright, let's close that. Okay, right inside the door here, right around the corner, we have a couple switches. Alright, we'll start with the one closest to the door on top. That's going to be your coach battery disconnect. So what that's for is if we're going to store the coach or not use it for a while, we can actually disconnect the batteries, and that will shut all the 12-volt power down on the back side of the coach, on the Winnebago side of the coach. So anytime you store, you want to make sure you shut that off, make sure your batteries are full, and then shut that disconnect off. The next time you come, your battery should be fine. The switch below that is going to be your step control. It's for your main steps to get in the coach. We either have on or off. So if we have that in the on position, every time we open and close the door, the steps are going to come out, go in, come out, go in. If we have it in the off position, the first time you open the door, they'll come out and they'll stay out. We do have safeties in the ignition and transmission that will actually pull these steps in if we shift it into drive or start the engine. Alright, next switch over is your awning control switch. So we have in and out, and we also have your light control there. So this awning is fully Bluetooth. We can Bluetooth to it from Carefree Connect app. So if you download that app, you can actually pair to this awning. To put this awning in pairing, what you're going to do is when the awning's all the way in, you're going to bring it out just a little bit, bring it back in, and then hold the in button for about 3 to 5 seconds. That actually puts this awning in pairing. Then you can sync to it with your phone. Now we can control the in, the out, you can dim your lights, kind of see what's going on with the whole awning. It's kind of a nice feature, so then if you're sitting out here camping, you can run your awning just from your cell phone. Okay, moving on, we do have an LED light up high. That switch is controlled right inside the coach. Alright, coming down to the first compartment. So in this first compartment here, right behind the main door, we'll start in the bottom here. We have just a little slide port here that opens and closes. That allows you to bring extension cords through, cables, anything like that. And then we can actually plug into an outlet that's right up on top there. There's also a coax hook up there, which is for if we want to put a TV out here, we can hook up to that coax, and that's pre-fed into the antenna that's on the roof. And if you did hook up to part cable, that would feed out here too. Our 2000 watt inverter actually sits in this compartment too, up on the top side. Kind of just where we store it at. That's where you'll hear fans running, stuff like that. There is a control on it, but we also have a remote control that's inside. And I'll show you that once we go inside to actually see what it's doing, turn it on and off. This slide port, we always want to make sure we close it, otherwise you get all that road debris, everything else up in this compartment. Alright, so now we'll move back. On the tire wise, 61 pounds all the way around. So all 6 tires get 61 pounds in it. One nice thing to do with any of these rear tires is actually put valve stem extensions on. It will make it so much easier to actually check your tire pressures. If you don't, it just takes a truck checker that you can actually pull back on. We have one that's back down here, that's for your inner dual. And then straight across from it up top is going to be the one for your outer dual. That's just where the extensions definitely help. If we bring those out, put them way out, and then it's easy to check it. All right, so moving up here, we have our furnace. So for our furnace, we have exhaust coming out here, fresh air going in there. The one thing you might want to think about doing is putting bug screens on these. Keeps the mud daubers, wasp, any insects that are going to build nests or any of that in there, or keeps them out of there, because nothing worse for a furnace than any nests or any of that getting built in there. So the bug screens will actually help keep those out. So definitely a good thing to do. Moving just in front of the furnace here, we have our Truma. So on the Truma, we're going to open it up just like that. Really not a lot for you to do out here. We do have a power switch that's either on, either direction you go with it. So either up or down is on. If you have it in the middle, it's off. Over here is actually the drain. So a drain, all we're going to do is push up on that black, hole open, push down, and then this filter is what's usually in there. That actually sits back in there like that. That's what seals it up in there. For winter use, or for winterizing, we want to make sure we take this out and leave it out. That's why you saw it stored over to the side here. So we'll leave that over there. But when you winterize, we definitely want to make sure we get all the water out. This is one way to get all of our water out, by draining this cylinder that's back here. Always make sure you relieve the pressure before we open up this. Otherwise, if there's too much pressure, it's going to come spraying out at you. There you go. Other than draining and power switches, out here there's really nothing for you to do. The controls inside that we actually do all the settings and everything for the Truma. Closed, like that. Okay, we'll come straight down below the Truma. A couple things down here. So we'll start with down low on the right side here. We have an external LP hookup. So this is for if you want to put a grill, any of that stuff on your camping side here. We can hook up. It is already regulated to 11 inches of water column. So we just hook up, make sure your grill is compatible with already being regulated. And there is a shutoff valve right on top here. And actually the male part of this valve is inside in the drawer or in your black bag. Somewhere in the coach it should be. So up here on generator, we have the tabs that just twist sideways. Pull open, just like that. Okay, for the generator wise out here, we can actually start and stop it from out here. So you'll actually hold the stop button till you see a red light, and then you're going to hold the start button until it starts. So what I was doing when I held the stop button is I'm actually priming the generator, and then hold it that way, it actually starts the generator. There is a breaker right down here on that right side. So if you're running your generator but it's not giving you any power inside, come check that breaker. That breaker is one of the first things that trip, and it won't allow any of the 110 volt to get into the coach. So definitely check that first. Right here is our oil fill and also our oil drain plug, our oil dipstick. The drain plug is directly underneath it to drain the oil out. It's literally drop the oil out, put new oil in, no filters. And we use a straight 30 weight is what we use. We do have an air filter here, just with a wing nut right here. On that side, that'll open that up, give you access to that air filter. Anytime you do an oil change, just check the air filter. Make sure it's clean. If it looks too bad, just replace it. There is a part number right on the front here for that air filter if you do need a replacement. Also with the generator is maintenance. We definitely want to take care of these, and we definitely want to run them a lot. The more we run these generators, the better they're going to run for you. So Onan's recommendation is 2 hours a month under a 50% load. So we want to run some stuff and put a load against this generator. And if you can do more than 2 hours a month, do it. Definitely. The more you run this, it's definitely going to run better. So put those hours on. Oil changes, initial will be at 20 hours, and then we recommend after that every 50 hours or once a year, whichever one comes first. All right, so moving on. Close, lock, lock. Okay, so right back here we have another storage compartment. All right, and we'll go above that storage compartment. And we have another one. This storage compartment here, you can actually access from inside your closet. The floor of your closet will actually pull up. We can access in here, or we can put taller stuff in there too if we want to. Gives you a nice big storage. There also is a board down here at the bottom that can be pulled up. This simply is just a service access. It gives me access to work on the wiring. There is a clean out for the drain down there. Really no storage, just service. Okay, now we'll move to the back. All right, full extension ladder, rated for 225 pounds. If we do go on the roof, be careful because it is very, very slippery when wet. Have snow on it, any of that, really, really slippery, so be careful. Main reason we need to get up on that roof is to check seals. We want to check any place that you see any of the silicone, any of that stuff around vents. Make sure we haven't punctured, it hasn't cracked, any of that stuff. Just kind of check the whole roof over, make sure there's nothing out of the normal. Nothing worse for an RV than a water leak, so we want to make sure we get up there and check that. Do it quite often, actually. Even if it's a matter of getting up the ladder and just looking up there really quick. It'll save you from a lot of headaches down the road if you just take a look once in a while up there. Back here for towing, we have 5,000 pounds of towing, 500 on the vertical tongue weight. We also have a 7-pin adapter. And that's for your tow lights. All right, up high we do have our... So the camera is non-adjustable, just pretty much sits in that mount, and anytime we put the coach in reverse, that camera will come up. All right, now over here on the driver's side. So we'll start up atop the water compartment here. So we have a black tank flush. So this is plumbed into your black tank and just helps you rinse it out. Pretty much keeping your tank clean, keeping the sensors reading right. If you have time, every time that you dump your tanks and you can use this, definitely do it. It's gonna help those sensors work a lot better if we keep our tanks clean. All right, so now down in this compartment. So we'll start on the right side over here, kind of our electrical compartment. So new for 2020 is the Views actually added an ATS box, which is an automatic transfer switch. So what that means is if I start my generator, it's going to automatically switch over to the generator from our shore cord. And in the past years, you used to have to bring your cord in, plug it into an outlet for that to happen. Now we have that ATS that does it automatically for you. Generator always takes priority. So even though I'm plugged in right now, if I would start the generator, it's gonna run off the generator power. And actually, if we go way back in that compartment, you'll see way back there that there is a portable solar hookup. You have a portable satellite dish hookup, and we also have our cable port back there. And then kind of hard to see, but it's right up top of this compartment. Right in the front, there's going to be 2 switches. Those 2 switches are actually going to control our stabilizers that are in the back of the RV. One for the driver's side, one for the passenger side. And then even if you bump that with your cord when you put it away, it's going to put a warning up on your dash with a light saying stabilizers are down. So if you do that, just come back here, push the buttons, make sure they're all the way stored up when you get ready to travel. We do have an access port right here that we can flip open, push the cord through, makes it a little tighter so animals and stuff can't get up in there. Just make sure when you travel that we open it, close that rubber piece right there, and then go back up and then lock the red tabs. And that will keep all the road debris and everything else from getting up in this compartment. Over here in the water compartment, we'll start on the bottom. We have 3 valves at the bottom. So 2 of them are low point drains, and the one on the right side is actually your freshwater tank drain. They're all labeled the same. Just remember the one on the right is the freshwater tank. And the low point drains, those are pretty much just for winterizing or helping getting water out of your actual water lines that are inside. You have hot and cold low point drains there. We have a black drain here. That's to open up your black dump for dumping your waste. And then we have a gray dump right here, T-handle. You're just gonna grab them, pull straight out on them. Make sure you have your hose hooked up first. All right, above that we have a water pump switch. So 3 places to turn your water pump on and off in this coach. One is here, one is in the bathroom, and then one is right beside the kitchen. I'll show you all those when we go inside. Over here is your city fill. So if the resort offers water, this is where we're gonna hook our hose up to. A pressure regulator is always a good idea. It actually will reduce the pressure down to 40 to 50 PSI, which is good because our lines are only rated to handle so much PSI of water pressure. That will just regulate it and make sure we don't exceed any of that PSI requirements. Up above that, we have our tank fill and normal operation valve. So it's a diverter valve. If you are hooked up to a hose and you want to fill your freshwater tank, you can just flip that down to tank fill and that will fill your freshwater tank. You can look at your gauges inside to see how full you are, or you can wait until you hear the water pouring out from the overflow underneath. Just when you get done filling your tank, make sure you always take that back to normal operation. If you don't, you won't get any water when you turn your pump on to any of your faucets. It will just cycle in your freshwater tank. So the only time you flip that valve is if you're going to fill your tank and make sure it goes back to the right position. We do have hot and cold out here on our shower. So hot on left, cold on right. Shower head here does have a stopper right here that will stop all water flow. Way up top now, there is a winterizing valve. So this is how we winterize our coach. So we turn that valve to winterize, and then what we're gonna do is grab this hose that's down at the bottom of the compartment. So down here is a clear hose with a cap on it. So right here. So we're gonna take that cap off, put this in a jug of RV antifreeze, and then we're gonna turn your water pump on and go to every single faucet until you get a nice steady stream of pink coming out from that RV antifreeze. So winterizing these are actually really, really easy. Once you do it a couple times, it's really, really quick. Just make sure when you're done winterizing that you do flip that valve back to normal operation. Otherwise, you're not gonna like it when you go put water back in this and you don't get any water. All right, so that's part of winterizing there. There is a light up on top too in this compartment that has an individual toggle just right on it to turn it on and off. All right, down below is our dump station. So before we pull that black handle and that gray handle, all right, take the cap off, hook your hose up, put it in the dump station. Then you're always gonna dump your black tank first. So pull that black handle out, let all of the water and waste dump until you don't hear it anymore. And then after that, go ahead and pull your gray handle and then dump the whole gray tank. Then once you're done and you don't hear any more coming out, close both of the valves. And then after you're all done, we're just gonna replace that lid back on there. Just like that. All right, so Now we'll move up here on the side of the slide. A little bit of maintenance and care that we want to take care of on the slide is we do want to lubricate the seals right here. We use an Aero 303, which is a rubber conditioner. So I like to spray it on a rag and then wipe it on the seals. We want to do that, a couple times a year. Make sure those seals are not getting brittle, getting hard. Make sure they stay pliable is what we want. We want to be able to wipe the room off of water or any debris or anything that's on there. And then we do want you to lubricate the actual glides. So really, I don't need the glide lubricated. I need the gear that's inside. We want to just hit that, which is way back in here. It's kind of what we want to hit. So we want to lubricate in there. We don't want to use a WD-40 or anything like that. We want to use a dry Teflon or a graphite spray, something that's not going to draw dust to the actual mechanism. And then again, I mean, if you hear your room getting squeaky, any of that stuff, lubricate those. It usually takes care of any of those squeaks or noises that you hear. The other thing you might want to do is wipe the side of your rooms down. So if they're really dirty or anything, just wipe them down, keep them clean. That's gonna preserve your rubber seals and stuff like that on there. Okay, we'll move around here. So on the side of the coach here, we have your gravity fill. So it's a matter of just opening it up, putting a hose in there, and you can fill your freshwater tank from here also. Nice thing about this is technically you don't need a pressurized source. So you could literally take buckets or jugs of water and dump it in if you really wanted to. Right beside that is an overflow. So once our tank gets completely overflowing, you're going to hear it running out here. Okay, now we will actually move down below the slide room. We have another storage compartment here. And then we also have our LP tank in front of that. All right, so on the LP tank, you do have your shut off here. So righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So if I crank it to the right, that's going to shut all LP off. Crank it to the left is going to turn it all on. There is a sight gauge out here that tells you how much LP you have, but you also have one inside that tells you how much LP you have. This is where we fill from. This is just an 80% outage valve. That's what we use when we fill. We crack those open. Help us tell when we're actually getting into that 80% mark. The capacity of this tank is 12.2 gallons, fillable to 80%. So roughly 9.2 gallons you roughly fit in here of LP. Right beside that, your regulator that sits right there. That actually is what regulates it down to 11 inches of water column. All right. Also, on both of these compartments underneath the slide, they do have safety cables on them. Those are actually there for a reason. If those were not there, these doors would actually go up and jam right behind the trim of the slide and actually would smash them. So if you see any of those broke or popped off, put them back on before you run the slide room. Okay, now we'll move up here to the driver's door. Okay, so up here, we do have our diesel fill, which is right behind here. And then when the door is shut, and that is shut, it's actually secure. So when you open it, open that, then you can close your door. Ultra low sulfur diesel is what we want to use. Right in front of that is going to be all of your VIN numbers, serial numbers, tire pressures will all be here on these yellow stickers. All right, so now under the driver's seat here, it's like that. If I open this, we do have some fuses. A lot of these are Mercedes that are under this seat. So a good way to look at it is the driver's seat is Mercedes, the passenger seat is Winnebago's. So I'm talking about underneath the seat. And Winnebago has a lot of their wiring under that seat, Mercedes has a lot of their wiring under this seat. So it's always a good idea to keep some extra fuses with you in case we pop any of these. We do also, under here, way in the back there, behind that panel with the sticker on it, there is actually a disconnect back there. And that's going to be a chassis disconnect. So if we're going to store it, any of that stuff, we want to disconnect the chassis from back there. But the sticker is going to tell you, wait at least 10 minutes after shutting the engine off before you do that disconnect. And that's just because we have computers shutting down, all that stuff is shutting down in those 10 minutes. So we want to give it that amount of time to shut down. So now if we go up here towards the steering wheel, we have our light control here. So you have parking lights to your left, automatic lights in the middle. We have your normal lights way to the right if you want to just turn them on all the time. Over here is your fog lights. You have your dimmer switch that's just right below that. And then beside that is just a couple blank cover plates. Kind of a feature Winnebago doesn't use, so there's cover plates there. Actually, on the door here, we have all of your controls for your seats are right here, for your driver's seat. So this one here is going to do your backrest, forward or back. The bottom one will slide your seat forward or back, or lift it up or down. You do have memory settings here, up to 3 memory settings. A lot of people on that third setting will actually set the chair all the way forward. And that's so they can actually rotate it. Anytime we rotate these chairs around inside, they have to be all the way forward to clear the steering wheel and doors and stuff. So a lot of people will set that function on number 3. They can just push it. We'll take it all the way forward for them. We have heated seats right here. You have unlock, lock, and then above that, we have all your mirror controls right here. And then what you're gonna do is, this one is passenger, that one is driver. So select which mirror you want to control, and then the arrows will tilt it whatever direction you want to. Window controls are right here. Nice feature about the windows on the new Mercedes chassis is with your key fob, you can actually hold the lock button to roll your windows up, and you can hold the unlock button to actually roll your windows down, which is kind of neat. Okay, hood release is actually right around the corner. It's right there. And then also underneath the floor of the driver's side here is actually your chassis battery is actually under this floor. That's why you got a battery symbol right here. So if you ever need to get access to it, there's 3 screws here, and then that whole floor pulls up. Okay, now we'll go up front underneath the hood. Okay, the hood release now is just left of the Mercedes sign. So I'm going to push it, lift, and now the prop rod is right here on the passenger side. And that just props right there. Okay, we'll start over here on the driver's side. We have our brake fluid up high here. We have a remote terminal right here for our battery. That's our chassis battery underneath that floor. Since we don't have direct access to it, they give you a terminal here, and they give you a ground that's actually right there on the side. Right over there. So if we ever needed to jump somebody, or somebody wanted to jump us, or you just wanted to put a charger on that battery, this is where we could do it from up here. Now if I go straight down here, is our windshield washer fluid reservoir is right here. And then down here, kind of hard to see, is our oil filter. Actually sits right here. It's a cartridge oil filter. All right, moving towards the passenger side here, we have our oil fill. And then In some of these models, what they're going to do is actually they'll have a plug right here. That's actually in your oil dipstick. You can actually order a dipstick that does go in there if you do want to check your oil, but when they're sent to us, they're sent without dipsticks. Over here is engine coolant, right here. And then just in front of that is our DEF, which is DEF, diesel exhaust fluid. This is something we have to add. So after so many miles, you're going to get warnings on your dash saying you've used so much DEF, then it's time to add. It's a 3.4 gallon tank. After you've technically used 2 gallons is when you're going to start getting warnings on your dash. Main thing to remember, don't ever run out of this. Because once it warns you enough and gives you so many starts, it's going to lock you out of your coach. So make sure we top this off every so often. Let it go down a little bit because it does crystallize. So we do want to use some up before we top it off. So let it go down a little bit and then top it off as you go. Most diesel stations will have this. Walmart, all that stuff will have it in jugs. So you can find this pretty much anywhere, which is kind of nice. All right. So hood sweep comes across, right in here is where all your cab air actually goes in. All right, so up front we also do have the upgraded headlights now that are integrated into the chassis. So they're kind of nice. They recognize things. So if I make turns to the left, it actually turns on my lower fog light. Make a turn to the right, will actually turn on my right fog light. Really, really nice headlights actually now. All right, down low here, there is one little cutout right here. So that actually pops out of there, and you can actually screw a bar in there. If we ever need to pull this out of snow, out of sand, you got stuck, that's really the only good place to actually attach a chain or anything to pull this out. Do also have the step up front that gives you access to clean your windshield a little better. All right, up with the hood. All right, and new for 2020, we do have the new wipers too that have a whole different spraying pattern for the actual windshield washer fluid. It's kind of cool. There's a bunch of little holes on there that cover a lot more of the window and does a lot better job. Okay, moving over here to the passenger door. Okay, so in the passenger door here, again, you have all of your seat controls that are right here. You have the same 3 memories on the right side there. We have heat, unlock and lock, window controls up top. All right, here underneath the seat, behind this panel here, is 12-volt breakers. So everything's labeled. They're gonna pop out about ½ an inch on you. All you have to do is push them back in to reset them. A lot of the stuff that's out here is your steps, your awnings, your slide room, a lot of exterior stuff. The interior stuff is actually gonna be in the panel that's inside. So if we have any problems, come to this panel and just check it, make sure nothing's tripped. Other thing we have here is down below here. If I open this up, that is where your jack and tire tools are. Close that. Okay. All right, now we can head inside. Okay, now inside, on the driver's side here, we'll start. We do have full storage up above, all the way across. Push button latches. Push, it releases, then we can open. Here and here, couple things that we have up here. These curtains that you see that are smaller shaped that have the buttons, those are actually for the upper bunk, the 2 windows up above, and these will snap right onto the buttons that are up there. That's what those 2 do. Then we also have 2 curtains here that are for your bedroom area, and they have just little snaps up top, or little clips. So those clips right there correlate to the hooks that are on the roof. So you'll have those go around your bed to give you privacy. All the way up and all the way back and around. All right, close those, then we go closed. And to latch them, you're just going to push in until it clips, and then that locks them in place. All right, over here, we're going to have Winnebago's black bag. So right there. So in the black bag, to start with, we have, all right, so on this page here, we're going to have all of the VIN number, serial number, model numbers, all your exterior heights, lengths, and widths, and then we'll also have all of your tank sizes will be on the right side there. And that's your black, your gray, your freshwater, fuel, LP gas, all that'll be over there. Okay, upgraded options are down below here. If I flip that over, is all the standard options that come with the RV. On this other page here is going to be all the model and serial numbers for every appliance in this coach. So if we ever need a replacement for a TV or a refrigerator, we can get the model and serial number right off this page instead of trying to find it on the appliance itself. Kind of nice. Okay, first book we have, Operator's Manual. So, Operator's Manual is going to tell you how to operate everything in the coach. Definitely will help you. Back in section Section 11 is what it is. So in section 11, we have a maintenance chart. So on the maintenance chart, it's going to tell you when to check batteries, check seals, when to check things on the RV. It's going to say either before each use, weekly, monthly, every 3 months, every 6 months, yearly, as needed. So this is a good reference point to get started, and just to keep up on everything. You'll kind of get your own list going too as you get to know your coach and everything too. But definitely a good starting point. So that's the operator's manual. Next we have the supplement operator's manual. So this is a little bit of light reading, but it's every manual for every single thing in this coach. All in binder form, which is really, really nice. And then here in front, everything is subcategorized, so it makes it a lot easier to find things. So it's just kind of what you're looking for: appliances, propane gas, electrical, plumbing. But easy to find. Any problems running, or any problems with anything really, always go to your manuals first. A lot of times they're going to walk you through things, kind of help you figure out what's going on, or if you need to get to a dealer, or if you need to call us. Alright, other manual we have is our Mercedes manual. So anything to do with the chassis, refer to this manual. This manual is now on the dash too. So you can actually bring the manual up right on your screen up front, which is kind of nice. Any problems, anything, you have access to it right up there. Otherwise, you do have the hard copy here. Okay, other thing we have is the Onan manual. So that is the generator manual pretty much. And that's about it for the black bag. So just remember, yeah, any problems operating anything, any problems with anything in the coach, go here first. This is going to solve probably 90% of your problems just by looking in here. Okay, so also in the slide here, we do have our MCD shades, which are really nice shades. So we have our day shade in the back. which pull down, and then we can just pull and let go. Nice and smooth up, nice and smooth down. Same with this nightshade. Pull down, let go. Nice and smooth up. On the window here, all we have to do is unlatch it and then slide it sideways. You can also slide the screen with it too, if you want to open the whole thing up to the outside. And then we're just going to go back in, latch in place. Okay, so here at the table, dinette here, we do have storage under all three sides. So it gives you lots of storage underneath here. Same on the back, same on the front. We do have our extensions to it, which are in the front here. You're just gonna grab them, go up, locks in place. Gives you a foot extension, gives you another seat. So to release it, there's two releases right here. Push that one, releases down. Just like that. And we do have the same thing on the front side also too. To make this into a bed is underneath here. There's a little crank right here. So that's what's locking the tabletop on. So loosen that up. All right, now we'll pop the tabletop off. Then we got to take the leg out here. Okay. Okay, so now with that out, there's a little ledge that's right here, all the way around. We're going to take the table. And we're going to slide that into there. It is easier to lift up one side of the cushion. Slide it into there. Put that cushion back down. And then we're going to use these little cushions that are in the back to fill in there and there. So really easy to do. Pretty quick. And then again, these two cushions are your fillers to make it into one platform. And we go and reverse all that. Put that one back up. That one back up. Lift that out of the way. Pull the table out. That back down. Table leg goes back in the holder. And then while we have the table out, there is a 110 volt plug-in that is actually underneath the table here. And we'll put the table back on. Right there. And then this tightener is if you don't want to rotate it. That will just lock it in place so it's not moving while you travel or anything. Okay, moving back here to the bedroom. So we do have our Murphy bed. We have the new bed legs here, which just open, lock into place, open, lock into place. All right, the switch for the Murphy bed now is in the bathroom. So around the corner by the shower is actually where the switch is. So we're gonna bring that down. Okay, all the way down. All right, so back here, once we have the Murphy bed down, we have a couple things. We have reading lights up above here, which are a single push, and you get a blue light, which is a night light. If I hold it, it gives you a reading light. And that is adjustable to go wherever you want to with it. Same thing on the other side. We do have storage up above. So, a little bit of storage above the bed there. Go down. Okay, so now beside on both sides of the bed, we do have a 110 volt outlet here, and then below that you have USB ports. And that's for charging your phones or whatever you need to plug in. CPAPs or any of that stuff, you can do it on either side of the bed. Okay, now we'll go back up with the bed. We're just going to reverse the switch in the bathroom here. And then we'll go up. Okay, and then there's a little release on each leg, which is right here. Push that, right there. Push that back in. Release there, push that back in. So Murphy bed's really easy to put up and down. We can leave all our blankets, everything on there, which is nice. Keep the bed made when we put it up. The only difference is the more stuff we have on it just might make this sit out a little further. So just kind of be cautious of that. All right, underneath this couch. If I lift up here, we do have storage here. You will see that there's a panel on that side that is removable. So there's a little trick to it. So if you have this cushion all the way up, you can't get this panel out. So if you bring it down a little ways, now you can take that panel off. All right, so underneath that panel is our 12 volt water pump. Really easy to access, which is good, because the one thing you might have to do is there is a screen right here. So right in there. And if that plugs up with sediment, anything, it's going to reduce the flow in here. So we need to unscrew that, clean it, and then put it back in. 12 volt water pump is an on-demand water pump. So it will only run when you have the switch on and when you make a call for it at the faucets. Other than that, it's going to build pressure up and then shut itself down. So you can leave that on the whole time you're camping, and it will only run when you need it. It is normal once in a while to hear these burp just once in a while, and that's just if there's an air pocket or something and it released a little air, it's going to burp just a little bit and run. Pretty normal. Okay, so then pull that cushion down a little bit and we'll go back on with this, just like that. Close that. Okay, also on the floor we have another table mount. So we have our main table up there, then we have another table that can go here, or it can go up in between the driver and passenger seat. The table that we have up there is actually stored in your closet. There's a little clamp in there and a table leg holder that's in the closet. Okay, we'll go to the ceiling. Back here in the bedroom area, we have our carbon monoxide detector, which just flips open. 9 volt battery. Test them often. There's a test button on the front. Change batteries yearly. Make sure they're working. Up front, above the driver and passenger seat, we have our smoke detector, which opens the same way and has the same test button right in the middle. Test button is actually right there in the middle. So again, check that the same way. Change those batteries yearly. And the last detector we have is actually on the floor in the bedroom here, which is on the armrest of the couch. So we have our LP detector. LP detectors for your propane gas. It's on the floor because propane is heavier than air, settles to the floor. The other gases, smoke and carbon, are lighter than air, float to the ceiling. That's why they're in different places. Again, this one has a test button right on the front here. The LP detector is hardwired into your coach batteries, so anytime your batteries are on, this is always going to be on. So there's no change in batteries on these. If that goes off, get out of your coach, shut your LP off, go to a service dealer and figure out why that's going off. It's either a bad sensor, you have an LP leak, some aerosols can set this off. So if you're using hairspray or any of that stuff, that might have set it off. Just let the room clear and see if it goes away. But if you're not using any hairsprays of that, shut your LP off and make sure we don't have a leak. Okay. Here in between the bathroom and bedroom, we do have our pocket door. There's a release on the end here, right here, or there's one on both sides. So here or here. So when I come all the way closed with it, it will latch into place. Just like that. You just have to pull your release down, and then that opens back up. It does latch into place when it's closed too. So when you travel, it's not banging back and forth. All right, in the bathroom wise, so in the bathroom in here, we have our shower to the right side, which we have our shower door right in the front. It's a matter of just grabbing it, pull this side, and then it latches right on the trim there. The shower door is actually mold resistant, mildew resistant, and self-cleaning. So it has a squeegee that squeegees it off every time it goes back in. Every once in a while, you probably still will want to wipe it down. But for the most part, the squeegee does pretty good. We're going to push it in to release. Make sure you hold it because it is spring loaded. Open, up on the shower control up there. The further up I go with it, the hotter it's going to get. There is, right over here, it goes from cold to hot. So just twist, and the further you go, the hotter it gets. Up on the shower head, we do have a stop button that will slow water flow down. It doesn't shut it off completely, but it slows it down a lot. So if we want to conserve water, that's the button we use. Set our temperature once and then control it with that switch that's up there. Do also have a bar that's up top there, which is a hanging bar. Made for wet towels, swimming trunks, stuff like that. We don't want to use it as a full clothes rack. If you put too much weight on it, it could break your surround. So just light stuff, you know, a couple pairs of shorts, a towel, something like that. There's a skylight above that that gives you a lot of natural light coming into your shower, which is really nice. All right, to the back wall now, we have a window that's coming in that has a steel blind on it. On the right side, the cord on the right is how you lower and raise it. And then on the left side, your little turn here is how you open and close it. So if I pull to the left, lowers it, and back to the right, locks it in place. Then I can twist this, and we can open the mini blind or close the mini blind, either direction. I will tell you, when you travel, you'll either want to put it all the way up, or down at the bottom there's some clips that you can actually clip it into, and that's going to stop the shade from banging around. And when the shade bangs around, it can be really loud when you travel. So either up or clipped into those. On the right side up here too, you do have a little hook there. That's for the actual cord that we can wind up on there to kind of stop that from banging around while we travel too. Just like that. All right, medicine cabinet. So medicine cabinet has that same push button on it. We're gonna open up, and kind of one of the new features we have here is in the bottom, right underneath this little plastic thing, we can open that up. They've actually designed it to hold a Kleenex box. So you can put it upside down and then put Kleenexes in there. But that's what this cover is covering, is that right there. So we'll put that back in. A little bit of storage in there. There is a free sample of Aquachem, which is a black tank deodorizer and sanitizer. So we always want to use something in that black tank to help break things down and help with smells. This is just a free sample that came with the toilet itself. All right, so now we'll close the door up there. Okay, now faucet-wise, really easy to use. We're gonna pull straight up. To the left is hot, to the right is cold. Push it back down to shut it off. That is labeled right here on top that says hot and cold. Then there is a stopper down below, right there. So that's to plug off your sink if you need to. Up above that is a water pump switch. So again, there's 3 places. This is the second place that we can turn it on and off at. Next one above that is going to be your Truma control. So that's for your hot water heater. All right, one thing to really remember with this, kind of a good thing, is right here is where you start. Don't ever go down unless you're going to put it in a clean function. Because once I even go down for a couple seconds, it's going to lock you out of that water heater for 2 hours because it thinks you're going to go into a clean mode. So a good thing to think of is just go up. So if I just go up one click to there, that's hot mode. So what that does, it actually turns a circulating loop on, which is going to keep hot water right at all of your faucet at all times. So if you hear that hot water kick on, or you hear your pump running a little bit here and there, that's what it's doing, is doing that circulating pump in there and bringing water back to the faucets. If I go up to the Eco, it actually shuts that circulating pump off. Now you'll have to wait a couple seconds for it to get from the water heater to your faucet. That's just supposed to save on LP, is all that's there for really. So kind of up to you what function you want to. Most people seem to stay in that hot function because they don't really have to worry about it then, which is just right up there. This does blink a yellow light, and that is the status light pretty much. If there's a problem with the Truma, that yellow light actually tells us diagnostic codes. So it will have long flashes, short flashes. That actually is telling us what it's doing. Okay, we do have a Winnebago little hook there for towels. We have our wardrobe right here, same push button latch. In the wardrobe, we do have a light up high that actually does shut off when we do close the door. On the left side now of the closet is where your table will actually mount. There's a little clip there with a little strap. That's where we strap that table in. Up top, we have our hanging bar for all of our clothes. And then around the corner on the right side, we have our spot to mount our table leg. You'll see two little clips there. So you just snap that table leg into those clips, and that's where we store the table leg at. And that's for that small one that's up front, not the main table. Down below, there is a sewer hose in there that comes with the coach. That's a 10-foot blue sewer hose. And then also at the bottom of this is where we can lift the bottom of the closet up and out. And that gives us access to that storage compartment outside to put longer things or just to access what we have in there. Okay, so now, close the closet, push button latch again. Down below that is our toilet paper holder on the wall. And then on the sink down low there, you do have a GFI plug-in. So if you have outlets not working, check the GFI in here. Make sure it's not tripped. There's a reset button right on the front of that GFI. We do have storage underneath the sink. Right there. So a little bit of storage underneath the sink. And we have our toilet beside that. Our toilet is actually ran on a foot pedal on the right side. So down over here. So if I barely push that down, that's going to fill your bowl. If I fully depress it, that drops everything into the black tank. So remember, partially pressed, fill, all the way down, drops it in the black tank. Okay, now up on the ceiling in the bathroom, we do have our vent fan. So it's simply on or off on the vent fan, and then there is one little switch right here that either opens or closes it for airflow. The switch right here is either on or off. Okay, around the corner, up high by the shower there is actually where that switch is for your Murphy bed. So you can see it up there. That's how we actually raise and lower that Murphy bed. You put it in the bathroom because you're out of the way then. You don't have to worry about the bed hitting you or anything. You can stand out of the way to bring it up and down. We have a switch on the wall there, which is controlling your bathroom lights. 3 positions on most of your switches in here. We have high, middle is off, down is low. So that's high, that would be off, that would be low. Just a little night light. Back up to brights. That would be the same thing with your bedroom too, which is right on the right side here. So that switch the same way, high, off, low. And moving up to our thermostat, which is on the bedroom wall. Really easy to use. There's only 3 buttons. This bottom button here is going to take you through all the options. So if I push it once, it just brings the light up. Push it again, you have fan low, fan high. That's strictly your fan in your AC. So that just turns on that blower and just runs either at high or low. Then we have cool low, cool auto, cool high. And what that is, now we are running the compressor. Now we're calling for air conditioning. Set that off. So that will actually kick the compressor on and your blower fan. So it all depends what you have it set in. If you have it set in high or low is where that fan's going to start. So if you have it set in low, it's going to come on at low blower speed. Set at high, it's going to come on at high blower speed. Go through this again. So low, auto, high auto, heat electric. So now that's the heat pump built into your AC. Only works if it's 40 degrees or warmer outside. So if the ambient temperature is not 40 degrees or if it's below, all that's going to do is blow cold air at you. So then you will have to use your forced air furnace. But if it's above 40, definitely use it. I mean, it works really good. Then we have gas heat. Gas heat is actually going to be your forced air furnace, which is using your LP. So that's LP furnace. That is your most efficient way to heat this coach in cold weather. And then after gas, we're back to the off position. All we do is use these arrows to adjust the room temperature up or down, whatever we want the set point to be at. Okay, now we're going to move over here to the pantry. So a nice big pantry, full extension drawers, which are really nice. Same here. And then we also have another one down low. So if you ever do want to remove one of these drawers for cleaning or anything, there are little tabs right here. It's a little black tab that's right there. So the left one's going to be up. The right one will be down, they're opposite, and that will release it off that glide. And then you just push it back in to snap them back into place. Okay, down below that, I'll jump over here. Okay, so down here, you have some storage underneath of that last drawer. We have all of your 110 volt breakers are in here. Everything's labeled in the bottom where everything goes to. So just like at home, if they trip, they're going to trip halfway. You shut them all the way off and then flip it back up to reset it. Then over here is all of your 12 volt fuses. Everything's labeled on the back of the cover panel. So it tells you where each one of those fuses go to and what they go to. If one of them blows, the nice thing about this is there's LED lights in here that will light up. So if you have a blown fuse, that light will turn red and tell you which fuse is blown. Always a good idea to have extra fuses with you just in case. So we have 15s, 5s, and then there's 130 in here. So it's good to carry spares of all those that we have in there. And again, all this stuff back here is Winnebago stuff. So kind of anything inside, back here, it's going to be in these panels here. So if we have a problem, come here first. Check these panels. Okay, now put that cover back on. So down below that, there's an access panel here. That's how we get to our Truma. There is positions here and here that tell you where to position those valves to bypass them, to bypass the Truma for winterizing. So just follow those valve positions and that should bypass your Truma. Then you'll pump your RV antifreeze through. But also make sure that you go out and drain your Truma too when you winterize. But yep, that's right back there. You take 4 screws out and it gives you access to all those bypassing valves that are back there. Okay, now we'll move up to the fridge. Okay, there's a release right here on the side. Right there. Release. Open. Really nice fridge. Actually, for a smaller coach, it gives you a lot of storage. Your shelves are really adjustable to wherever you want to. There's one in the middle that does pull out or push in if you want to get taller stuff in there. So this is a 12-volt fridge. It's compressor driven. So we no longer really go to that absorption refrigerator. Now we got compression, or compressor driven refrigerators, which actually cool down a lot faster. It's still nice to be as level as we can for these fridges. We definitely want it to be, just for your comfort and everything. Makes everything run that much better. Freezers up here has one shelf that is adjustable in here. And up here on the controls, so we have our power switch that's right here. So what we're gonna do is hold that, and that will turn it on or off. The minus here and the plus here is how we adjust temperatures. So there's 5. So 5 is the coldest, 1 is the warmest. But you can control freezer temp and fridge temp. That's what these are right here. One's for your fridge, one's for your freezer. So you just select which one you want to set, and then adjust the temperatures up or down. The last thing we have here is a night mode. So what that is, if you hold that button for a couple seconds, it will turn night mode on, which actually quiets the compressor down, makes it run at a little lower speed, makes fans run at a lower speed, so you don't hear it as much. It just, like I said, just for noises for at night is pretty much what that's for. Okay, let's go up above that. We'll go to our solar control first. So in the solar control, a lot of this is just a readout, kind of telling you what's going on with your solar panel. Either solar is going to work or not work. I mean, we really can't do any settings to it, anything. Only thing we can do up here is we can look at our amps, amp hours, and then battery voltage. The battery type is adjusting what kind of batteries we have on board. So don't ever change it unless you put different batteries in here. So we can always put lithium, we can do AGMs, wet cells that are in here. So there's a couple different options you can do, but don't change it unless you do those options, because all those options charge different. Whether it's lithium, AGM, they all have different charging points. So always leave it set to what you have on board. The lights down below are just kind of telling you what's going on. The red and the blue light are kind of your main lights telling you that's charging and power to it. Your green light is actually the status of your battery. Okay, now we'll move over to the one-place panel. So on the one-place panel in here, this is where we start and stop our generator. So what I would do is I would hit the start until it said auto start. So if I did the auto start, it'd be a 15-second pre-start. It primes the generator for you and then starts automatically. If you want to bypass that, you push it till you get to auto start and you hold it, and then you can bypass the pre-start and start it quicker. If I hit stop one time, that's actually going to shut the generator down and just shut it off. You have your meter button, which is going to give you your hour meter on the bottom, tell you how many hours we have against that generator. And remember, with the generator, we want to run it 2 hours a month, 50% load. Keep up with the maintenance. We have that initial at 20 hours that we want to do oil change. Then we recommend 50 hours or once a year after that. So definitely take care of the generators, definitely run the generators. All right, battery level here. So then you have your house battery level or you have your chassis battery level. You can kind of look at both. All right, then we have tank level, which is going to show us our freshwater tank, LP gas, gray waste tank, black waste tank. They all go up by thirds, besides the LP goes up by quarters. And I want you a little more precise on the LP. All right, another place to turn the water pump switch on, our water pump right there. So that's the third place to turn that on. And then just to the left of that, we have our slide room control. So that's how we bring this main slide in. 2 safety switches to this slide. We have to have our emergency parking brake on, and we have to have the engine running. Once we have 2 of those done, then this slide can come in and out. Best thing to do is do a walk around before we bring this in or go out. Make sure nothing's jammed behind it, on the outside, jammed in it, before we start running this slide. You don't want sticks, you don't want furniture, toys, any of that stuff to get behind or under this slide. So definitely do a walk around before we start moving it. And it's literally just hold it until you hear that motor shut off. You'll actually hear a couple clicks if you hold it a little longer, and that's just setting some brakes that are on there. So it goes in, just sinks and set those brakes. Same thing on the way out. Hold it until you hear it shut off. That's how we know it's all the way against that sidewall and all the way out against our seals. Okay, so now we'll go to the compartment above the stove. Okay, so in here we have a couple things. We have storage first. Up here on the right side, we have our holding tank heaters. So if I flip that up, you get a red light. That means they're on. That's for if we're camping in 32 or below temperature or freezing temperatures. We want to turn that on because there's pads on the bottom of the gray tank and black tank to help keep them thawed out. So any freezing temperatures, just turn it on to help keep it thawed out. It is an energy draw, so you want to watch your batteries if we are running that a lot and dry camping. Down below that is going to be our inverter control. So this is new for 2020. We got a bigger inverter that actually runs our microwave and runs all the plugins. So we do a lot more with it. So if you're out dry camping, we can actually use your microwave or your plugins just by turning the inverter on. But just remember, anytime you're using that stuff, we are using battery power. So we got to maintain our batteries. On here is just kind of telling you what is going on with that inverter. Right now it's showing us we're bypassing the inverter. That's what that line up top is. And that's because we're plugged in outside. So when you plug in, it's going to bypass the inverter and run all the lights. That's what it's saying. Up here, the second switch down, you can push and actually go through settings, not settings, but readouts. So it's going to tell you what your loads are, what your input amperage is, kind of just tell you what's going on with the inverter, what it's sending out, what it's taking in. So yeah, you can scroll through and just look at more settings pretty much that are coming out of that. If I wasn't plugged in right now and I hit the power here, that will literally shut the inverter down, which now the microwave plugins won't work dry camping. Always have to have that on if we want to use that inverter. Okay. So now down below here, there's a heat shield above there for cooking. Then down on the stovetop, we now have an induction and we also have gas burner. So all we got to do is turn this over here to light, push down, and sparks. Hold it for a couple seconds, a couple more seconds than that. So we're trying to warm a thermocoupler up that's on the back side. Just a safety switch is what it's there for. We'll get over. Oh, warm that up. So once you have that warmed up, then you can go down to your simmer or up to a high flame. But yeah, that's nice because you can adjust it. And then we also have the electric version. So you have your induction. You do need special cookware to actually use this. It's got to be magnetic. That's made for induction stovetops. Because the nice thing about induction is we transfer heat into the pan. We don't actually, it doesn't heat this up. So after you cook, this is not hot at all, which is really, really nice. Your pan's going to be hot, but that won't be hot. All your settings are right here in front. We have the power, you have a timer, you have the temperature, we have the heat, and here's up and down if you want to adjust any of those settings. So really nice. You have best of both worlds there. All right, up here on the right side, 3 light switches. The one on the right here is for the lights right above the stove. Next one over is for all of my accent lighting all over the coach. Underneath the cabinets, above the cabinets, everywhere. Next one here is actually for my exhaust fan, which is right above my head. And that's anytime we're cooking or doing anything, we want to either crack a window open or run this fan. Help get rid of the air, help exchange air. Because anytime we're cooking, we're actually using oxygen up, so we need to be bringing fresh air in somehow, getting rid of some of this. That's why a lot of people crack a window open and then run the vent too. Down below that, we have storage drawers. In the storage drawer, we have TV remote, valve stem puller. We have your Maxxer fan remote. So this is the IR signal, so it has to be pointing right at your fan up front there to work. But you have power here. You can turn your fan speed up or down. Auto is going to set a thermostat, which is, this will now become a thermostat, so you can set it for 70 degrees, and if it gets warmer than that in here, automatically open, start venting out. So that's kind of nice. They give you a little mount where you can mount it wherever you want to, or you can do whatever you want with it. Everything you can do with that remote, you can do up on the fan also. Here we have a free sample of Truma tablets. So this is to clean your Truma, decalcify it. So there's 6 tablets in here. That filter that I showed you outside that we pulled out, you'll actually take these, put them all in that filter, push it back in, and then we're going to go turn your pump or your Truma onto a clean cycle. Make sure your water pump's on, and then that's going to run for 2 hours to clean your Truma. They do recommend you do this once a year, and it's just going to help everything stay clean, stay open, nothing plugging up. So make sure we do that. All right, so right here is the male part to that LP hookup that's outside. So now you just have to get a hose and a grill, and you're ready to cook. Next thing about these drawers too is they are all slow close. More storage down below that. Push in, slow close. I like it. There, and slow close. Another drawer underneath the microwave. The microwave is convection and microwaving. All of your settings, we do have presets up top here. Down below you have convection, grill, microwave plus grill. And we have temp and clock. You got the wait, defrost, quick start, start and cancel. Otherwise, all of your temperatures for convection are right here on the actual microwave itself. So if you want 300, push convection, push 300, let it preheat, cook like you would at home. It's going to take you a little getting used to on those. All right, so now above the convection, we'll go to the TV. All right, TV just has 2 heavy-duty latches on the right side, so you just got to yank. And I'm just pulling it out of these latches here. All right, another new feature for 2020 is our paper towel bar that's behind the TV. Allows you to get access in the kitchen. We have a little bit of storage beside and beside. Up above, we have all of our entertainment hookups. So we have a rooftop mounted coax hookup. We have a portable satellite hookup. We have a booster switch that has a little button on it. That's the one in the middle. So we have to turn that booster switch on to get any of the local stations, over the air stations. So once you turn that switch on, we'll go to the TV, we'll do a channel search and find whatever stations are available in that area. And then every time you switch locations, we have to redo that again. Next one over is an HDMI hookup. That HDMI hookup is already wired into the TV. So that's for if we want to do Apple TV, satellite receivers, any of that stuff, we'd hook right into that HDMI port. And then there is a 110 plug-in up high. And then we do also have some 12-volt outlets up there also. If you go to the ceiling right there, another new feature is Winnebago actually installs a pass-through now. There's a box up on the roof that's sealed, and it actually gives me access to that hole that's right there so I can pass wires through for adding satellites, adding solar, adding WeConnects, pretty much adding whatever features we're mounting on the roof and getting those wires inside. Makes it a little easier than actually drilling through the roof, pulling wires out. Okay. There is a safety cable on the back of the TV. That is important. Again, if that breaks, comes undone, get it put back on there. It's protecting cabinets and stuff from that, from the TV going too far and hitting cabinets. Okay, now we'll close the TV. Make sure that you always get those latched before you travel. Alright, so now, cabinet beside the TV is more storage. Okay. Again, we have a steel blind that's back over the window. Same kind of clips in the bottom. If we want to pull it down and travel with it down, then you want to make sure you clip it. Slider window, just undo the latch, slides open. All right, kitchen sink. Has Has 2 cover boards on it. Here and here. Nice modern sink, deep. It's got double sinks. You have the stoppers in the bottom. Up here's our control for a nice gooseneck faucet. We're gonna pull this straight out. Down is hot, up is cold. Back in is off. And again, that's labeled right here on that side of the faucet. So we do have our pull-out sprayer there also. Push button there to change either from a spray or just a steady stream. Okay, now we'll go down below the sink. So open. We do have a little storage on the side for sponges, whatever you want to use it for. Down here we have a drinking water filter. That's actually what this box is for here. So that filters all the cold water coming out of just your kitchen faucet. So if you want the whole coach filtered, you will have to buy an external filter that goes on your hose or any of that, but this will do the cold water in here. All right, there's an access port down the bottom. Again, just gives me access to wiring and other things under there to work on pretty much. Service port. Back on. Okay, so now we'll come over here to the front. We do have our fire extinguisher down low. So it's easy access inside or outside. If we have a fire or anything, can grab it pretty quick. We have our ladder for our bunk, which mounts right there on the passenger side into 2 clips. And then it's gonna come off and actually hook right onto here. And then up above, we do have our new improved bunk area, which has a better insulation value. They actually use a spray foam up there. We do have outlets, we have USB ports, we have 12-volt outlets. We have a reading light up there, works the same as the one in the bedrooms. We have the new tip-out windows on the passenger and driver side that do open on both of them just by turning that crank. It does have the little Winnebago emblem on those windows, which is kind of nice. Alright, then we have our curtain that comes across. It's your privacy curtain, is what that's for. Closes, meets in the middle, gives you a little privacy up there. Alright. When we're not using this, or if you don't want it up, you can actually go up, flip it around, gives you a little more access right here. Kind of up to you what you do on that. Other thing we have up here, in the boxes here, we have your windshield shade, so that's your privacy shade, and we also have your passenger and driver side shade. That just magnet up there. Front one goes up there also. Okay, front table here. This is that one that stores in your closet. That's just a matter of pulling it out. Table does release off of there too, so easy to take out. Okay, so now up front we do have 2 booster seats. That's kind of what's on here right now. It gets you up higher so your legs aren't sitting at quite an angle. And what it has is, on the side here, all it has is these snaps that just go around the seat. Hold it in place, just like that, around the seat. When you are traveling, these are not made for travel, so take these off. Actually, if you leave them on, it ends up putting the seat belt at a weird location if they would fly out on you. So take them off for travel, not made for travel. You can store them wherever you want to. I've seen a lot of people put them up on the bunk area. Kind of doesn't matter. It's wherever you want to, whatever works out best for you. Get rid of both of those. Okay, on the seats here. So again, we have a couple new features. We have an extension on both of them here. That gives you a little leg extension there. Gives you about 1.5 inches. So if you have longer legs, it allows it to come out and actually help with that. Back in to close it. And remember, all your controls for these seats are on your doors, so forward and back. So when we rotate chairs, we want them all the way forward, like we're sitting now. And be a little easier. So way down underneath right here, a little hard to see, is a release right in the middle of the seat. So pull it towards the center here, and that's going to allow you to come around. Rotate around. And then once we rotate all the way around, then we can take that seat forward and back wherever we want to go with it by using those controls on the door. Armrest is adjustable. So we're going to go all the way down. Then we'll lock in whatever place you want to on the way up. Go all the way up to reset it again, and then it will come all the way back down. So everything I'm showing you on the passenger seat is identical to the driver's seat. So it rotates, all that stuff, it's all the same on there. Extensions, we do have lumbar support that is on the side. So that is the one thing that's controlled on the seat, not on your door, is your lumbar. Right there, that little round dial. Down below that is our parking brake. So it's a folding parking brake. So even though I have it down right now, it's still engaged. It allows us to engage it, fold it down so the seat can swivel over it. Only way to disengage it is to pull up, push this button in the front, and release it down. Then it would be disengaged. But again, for your slide out, you have to have that engaged. We'll rotate the seat here, just like this. And then I'm going to come back a little ways. Okay, so now up front here. So a couple things up front on the steering wheel here. So first of all, we'll go back here. These are your blinkers, up and down. Also your wipers. So twist the end for your wipers, for your speeds. Out at the end here is how we spray. And again, it's the new windshield wipers and the new spray nozzles that give us a better coverage. We do have a paddle shifter that's right behind that, right there. And then another one's on that side. Up on front here, we have this side pretty much controls everything in the in-dash up here. So we can slide our finger across this square that's up here, and that will allow us to scroll through menu options. Up here is how we go back out to the main home, and then you can scroll through more options there. You have cruise that is on and off. Down here is, that actually allows us to set how close to the car in front of us we want with the adaptive cruise. So I can go up or down. I can keep it however many feet away or however many car lengths away I want to. And then it will maintain the speed of that car in front and keep you that far behind. So that's where we can adjust that, or we can do it in settings. This is where we set and then resume our cruise is right there. Cancel a cruise. Upscale and also right there. Your horn is in the middle. On the right side here. So now the right side is pretty much running everything for your radio. So again, you're going to slide your finger over here to go through options, change radio stations. Any of that stuff is going to be up here. We can answer a call and hang a call up here, right here. Right here is the volume of the radio. And then right here is hands-free calling. So that's how you can say call John Smith, call whoever you want to. It's going to be that button on that side. Okay, down low right here is actually your start. So you have to hold the brake in to start the engine. So you hold the brake in, push the button once, and then wait, and it will start automatically. If for some reason it ever says on your dash to insert the key in the marked place, what it's asking for is your key fob right here. There is a spot underneath the cup holders way down low down here that you insert that key. And what it's doing is getting this really close to the ignition module that's under there. So it's recognizing that you're here. Or if your batteries are going dead in this, that will put it close enough to the ignition module to actually start the engine too. The other thing we have on your key fob here is on the back side, you'll see a little silver button there. Push it, will actually release a key. This key will only get you in the doors. So it'll allow you to get in the front door, will not start it. So at least can get you in your coach. And that can go back into there, locks in place. Front we have unlock and lock. And again, as long as this key fob is close enough to the ignition, it will start. If I take these keys and put them back there on the counter, it will not start. It's got to be pretty close to the ignition up here. Couple keys we have. Gray key here is for the compartment doors outside. And then this black key right here is for your main walk-in door. So that's how we get in and out, if we don't want to use the key fob. The key fob will unlock and lock that door also back there. Okay, up here is your shifter, electronics shifter. So when you start it up, it will be in park. If I need to put it in drive, I'll just push down, and that will actually shift me into drive. If I push up, it goes into neutral once, and then if I push up again, it goes into reverse. Otherwise, park is always this button right here on the end. So if you stop, push that button. That's how you actually put it in park. Right there. Okay, down below that is we have a light and an alarm. So what that's for is those stabilizing jacks in the back. If we accidentally bump them down, this is that light that's going to be on, and this is that buzzer that's going to be going off. So go back there, put them back up. Okay, in the middle here, we have all of our climate control in the middle. So right here is taking temperatures up and down. Right here is taking the fan speeds up or down. You have your auto feature there. AC, that is vent selections, four-way hazards, defrost button is there, and then recirculation is there. And we do have a cup holders down below that. Now up to the radio, we'll get it started up here. A couple buttons that we have down here is telephone button, radio media button, navigation map button. This one will take you home or back. This is actually all of our safety features. I'll bring up that screen. Scroll our tuning forward and back. And this is either mute or power for the radio. So up top we do have Sirius XM, FM, AM on the radio section. You have all of the presets down low there. It tells you what stations we're on. Tuning on the left side. Okay, so then if I push the home button now, it takes us back out to the main menu. Everything's touchscreen here, so we can slide through it. So over here is where we would connect our phone. So if we wanted to sync our phone to here for hands-free calling, any of that stuff, this is where we do that at. Navigation is going to be all of your maps. That's how we bring up our navigation, navigate as places. Right here's our radio. So that's where we were just at for the Sirius XM, FM and AM radios. Media device. So if we connected a media device, play music, any of that stuff, this is where we access that. Information is here. So once the engine's on, you can look at your fuel consumptions. This is also where the operator's manual is. So that's how we access the operator's manual or see what's going on with the engine for RPMs. It'll actually show you your dash over here. Alright, over here we have Mercedes Pro and apps, and then we have settings. So that's settings of this whole radio. So you can go in there and adjust settings for audio, video, any of those settings are actually going to be in there. Also on this radio, we do have a video online too, a little bit more in depth. We'll actually take you through every single option in there. So if you want to go more into the radio, just look up that video. Okay, also up above here, we have, this opens and we have a charging station. So we have a wireless charger that's right here on this pad. Just set your phone there and it will charge. Up here we have USB-C ports. So there's 3 of them. 2 of them are strictly just chargers. This one over here is actually going to tie in whatever device you hook to the radio itself. That's what the video screen is there. So that's where we would hook up a media device, any of that stuff right there. And then right on this side is a 12 volt outlet also. And that, we do have some cup holders on both sides also. Also with the Mercedes chassis, for oil change wise, your manual will say 2 years or 20,000 miles. We do recommend a little bit sooner than that. We're still at the 10,000 miles or once a year. We like to see it get changed. I personally like to see that oil get changed more often. Get it out of there, get new oil in. We still want to do that break-in oil change at 5,000 miles. Get the oil out, get new oil in on that. The other thing is you have a 1,000 mile break-in period, which is normal acceleration, normal deceleration. So pretty much we just don't want to go out and set the cruise and stay on cruise for 4 or 5 hours at a time. We need to vary those speeds. That's how we're breaking the engine in. They also recommend that we don't tow in that first 1,000 miles. So if we can break it in right, not tow that stuff, after 1,000 you'll be all ready to go. And again, do that oil change at 5,000. Again, after that, then it's 10 or once a year. So yeah, main thing about the RV is that we do keep up on maintenance, whether it's engine maintenance, Winnebago maintenance, any of that stuff. Maintenance is one of the biggest things in these RVs that people neglect, is the reason they come and see me and I have to fix it. So we definitely want to make sure to keep up on all that maintenance. Up above here also, we do have a couple more things up above. We have all of your light controls up in front here. We have Mercedes version of pretty much OnStar is what this is. So if you need help, assistance, we can push that button. Up here is an SOS button. So that is, if you really have an emergency, flip that open and then push that button. And that will actually get a hold of the nearest dispatch or sheriff or emergency response people. So only use that if it's an emergency, because it does work very, very well. So make sure only an emergency. That's why it's under this little missile launch button. So don't just push it accidentally. You do have an eyeglass holder here. And back up. So yeah, there are a lot of new features to the front and back of this coach. A lot of new safety features up here. A lot of gizmos, gadgets to play with and get used to. But a lot of cool features about this all the way around, whether it's back here in Winnebago, Mercedes, any of this stuff. It's a really, really, really cool new coach. I hope this video was helpful. Hopefully you get out there and enjoy your RV. Have a great day.